This is the second video in different ways to derive, and we'll begin this by looking at what to do when you've got two terms in the denominator. Rather than trying to cancel the x's and everything goes a bit crazy, rather than trying to do the basic way of deriving where I times the power by the coefficient and drop it by 1 immediately, discipline yourself to notice that there's two terms in the denominator. And so the trick to begin is to factorize first. So here's a trinomial that we factorized, and then cancel. And so all I'm really left with is y equals 2x minus 7. We learnt in the last video that a constant term, when it's derived, just becomes 0. And we also learned that the quick way to get an answer when you're deriving simply an x term is that it becomes the coefficient. So the answer is just 2. You can do it, obviously, just for your understanding, times the power by the front. So it's 2 and drop it by 1. So it would be 0. And you would still end up with 2. Just to reiterate, when I've done the derivative, what does 2 even mean? 2 is the gradient because the derivative is the gradient of the tangent. And so you can imagine a question following on from here, that now I know the gradient, y equals mx plus c, y equals 2x plus c. Maybe all I need is a point, and then I'll be able to sub it in to find the equation of the tangent. Another one that catches people out quite often is when you have two y terms and you're wondering, what do I do now? And so once you know the trick, a lot of maths becomes a lot simpler. You bring all the y terms to one side. So step 1, that's what I've done here. I've brought all the y terms to one side. I factorize the y out, and so I end up with the second step, and I divide both sides by the bracket. And so again, all I've really got going in the question is y equals x to the 3, and I'm back to the beginning basics where I times the power by the front and I drop it by 1, and that's how I end up with the final derivative. Just to give you another example of this, a question says determine dy dx, so we know that means derivative, and all they give us is xy minus y equals 2x squared minus 2x. And so what are we going to do? Get the y's to one side. They've done that for us. Second step, take out just the y. I'm going to take out 2x so that I'm left with x minus 1. Cancel on both sides. The question then becomes basically do the derivative of that. So then it just becomes dy dx becomes 2. Just an extra thing to say, be careful to show at this step here I was busy working with the original equation, and at the point that you do the derivative and you've applied some of the rules that you've learned, then write it as dy over dx, or some questions that we spoke about earlier, you might write it as f dash x, but make sure that you get your notation correct when you're trying to get to your final answer at the point that you've done the derivative.